Hey guys, Ash here coming at you today, and I just hit level 8, as you can see on the screen live right now. As soon as I hit level 8, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stop, I'm going to plug in right now and start recording, because I think this is a good opportunity to go ahead and discuss tournaments in general. We've had now about 2 or 3 weeks now to actually experience tournaments. We've seen all the good, the potential good in tournaments, and we've seen a lot of bad in tournaments as well. So in today's episode, in the wake of Chief Pat's episode where he really kind of gave a scathing review of the game lately, he touches upon win trading. I'll go ahead and link the video below, but I thought it was a very articulate and well thought out episode video by Pat there, and I just wanted to kind of focus in on my video today on tournaments. So one thing I will mention right off the bat is what I want to get your feedback on is whether you prefer the current tournament format in terms of only the free-for-all, essentially playing in a private server. Do you guys like that, or do you rather have the bracket option? Now, me personally, I actually kind of like the whole private server idea versus the brackets. I think the brackets can tend to get a little bit clunky in game, and I actually like the free-for-all for 1 hour or more aspect of the tournaments right now, so I don't mind the format so much. Everything else I kind of have a problem with, so I'm going to kind of run you through my thought process here as I actually play. You can see this deck I'm using right here. By the way, this account was supposed to be my free-to-play account, but I did use some gems today to essentially just level up random cards so I could hit level 8 so I could play and host this tournament for you guys. So I did cheat a little bit here. I'm going to use this Balloon Giant deck. Going to kind of wait to see what my opponent does here, but instead of commentating play-by-play in today's episode, I really just want to go ahead and focus more on the subject at hand, which are tournaments. So I have 3 major issues right now with tournaments in Clash of Clans. Issue number 1 is the competitiveness in the tiers. Issue number 2 is the prizes, and issue number 3 is the entrance issues. So let me go ahead and break all of them down. I'm very curious to hear if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. So issue number 1 is skill tiers. So I think that there's a big obvious gap right now between those players who aren't using the trifecta deck and don't have any legendaries, and then all the people who have all the legendary cards, or at least most of them, namely either Sparky or Miner. Of course, Ice Wizard and Princess are very important as well. We'll have to wait. I think the verdict is still out on Lava Hound and Lumberjack and Log. But anyway, people who do have those cards and who have epics leveled up to the tournament standards have a very big advantage in these tournaments, especially the epics, even more so than legendaries, or at least on the same level in my opinion. As you can see here, I have a level 2 balloon. That's not going to do much here against these maxed out cards, or tournament maxed out cards. Well, actually, as you can see here, I guess this is a bad example. We actually opened up with a win here, but against another level 8, so he's kind of in the same boat as I am, although he did have Sparky. Now, you'll notice that I have Ice Wizard. The Ice Wizard here was actually pulled from a magical chest that I just got randomly, so certainly as a free-to-play player up until today, I was able to get one legendary card. Granted, I am only in Spell Valley, so I certainly am not far progression-wise, trophy-wise, into the game. I've never been to Builder's Workshop. But anyway, back to my main point here. The tier levels kind of stink right now. It's really not fair to level 8s, and to be honest with you, it's not that fun to go into a tournament. As you can see here, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too pumped. I'm not too pumped on my baby account right now, to be honest with you guys. With a level 2 balloon, I'm not going to be winning that many matches. I'm certainly not going to be placing in these tournaments. I've seen level 8s actually place and do well in tournaments, but to be honest with you, those level 8s, as you can see, I'm getting demolished here on the right now, but those level 8s that I have seen do well in tournaments, like that guy that I just played, have Sparky, and they actually still have the tournament standard cards, the ones that place top 3 in these tournaments that we're seeing. So they're kind of like those catered, engineered level 8 accounts where they specifically level up the cards that they're going to use in their deck. So, but for the layman, for the average player out there, I think that there needs to be a new tier system to these tournaments based on the level of your cards. So there could be a feasible expansion of the tournament standards so they can make them a little bit greater as well to get in the higher level tournaments. And obviously there could be a little drop on the other end too. It could feasibly include level 7s in these new tournament features. And then automatically you're going to be given the opportunity to join tournaments based on your card levels or your actual level. Granted, people will still be able to engineer accounts and take advantage of that system, but I still think it will create a much more even and fair playing field, as I totally screw up that fireball, if there were different tiers based on the level of your king tower or based on the level somehow aggregated of your cards. So that is one thing that I think would really benefit people who are going into these tournaments and unfortunately just having to grind out for an hour to gain absolutely nothing. That's not what we want to see out of the tournament feature. So number 2 is my biggest issue just personally, and that is the prizes. So how more emphatically can I say this other than prizes right now are nowhere near worth the time that you spend in these tournaments. Granted, the top half of the tournament finishers get some sort of a prize, some sort of cards, but oftentimes what you're walking away after grinding for an hour or 2 hours, or even up to 3 days, what you have to show for all these attacks that you have to grind out, basically the equivalent of what you're going to get out of a free chest, unless you're one of the lucky few or the skilled few. There is skill involved in tournaments. Let's not fool ourselves here, guys. People who do have maxed out cards and tournament level standard cards and have everything unlocked, they are on equal playing field. So I should note that it's not like that, you know, there isn't a large minority of players who do have everything unlocked, who at that point it is a game of skill, and that's why I like the tournament format as a whole, except for the fact of these 3 main points that I'm talking about today. So the prizes, they need to be greatly increased. Why in the world would someone play for an hour minimum for the chance at a free chest worth of cards if they're lucky? I'm not feeling it. You need more cards or way more gold or something like that, or even a gem reward if you're going. That brings me to my 3rd point, by the way. Entrance, right? So okay, the entry to tournaments is really flawed right now, and the number one reason for this is that it costs gems to create tournaments, yet there's no gem payout in tournaments, right? So in my mind, it should be the same currency. It should be a static currency for entry and for payout. So if you're going to ask me to pay 500 to 250,000 gems for one tournament, I expect a gem prize pool. However, I think I'm going to go ahead and advocate, actually, for Supercell to change from a gem system to a gold system. It doesn't sound like a big dramatic change, but I think that 500 gems obviously equals 10,000 gold in the shop. I think making the tournament ranges from 10,000 gold, which I can see why they didn't do it, right, guys? Immediately when I say it, 10,000 gold sounds like a lot more than 500 gems, and then when you extrapolate that upon the max tournament, it's like 250k gems sounds like a lot, but then when you're talking about 1,000,000 gold or whatever it is, well, that's a lot more. So the idea here, I think, might have been just placebo in keeping the number down using gems to start tournaments. So just to kind of wrap up that point, I do think that the whole currency regarding tournaments should be on the same level. So if you're going to cost gems to create a tournament, it should pay out gems as well, on top of the chest, perhaps. And if you're going to just reward cards, I think the entry should just be gold. But back to my 3rd point, the whole entrance of tournaments is a bigger issue than just the cost. And that is, there's not much incentive to open up a tournament as a tournament creator. Although I do 2 to 3 times a day on Twitter and on the forums and on each of my Clash Royale uploads, including this video, it doesn't matter. There's still a huge supply and demand issue where everybody wants to get into these open tournaments, but not many people are hosting open tournaments. Whenever I host an open tournament, and I'm sure whenever you guys too, if you have, they fill up literally within 1 second, within 2 seconds. As soon as it's opened up, it's immediately at 100 or plus people, depending on the size of your tournament. So there's a huge supply and demand issue. So I think that, like I said, my simple band-aid here, and it's just a band-aid, it's not an overall fix, would indeed be to switch from the gems to the gold, and I think that would incentivize more people to create tournaments. However, there's a but here, or there's an and here to be more specific, and that big and is I would add a much bigger gold reward per battle won in every tournament match. I think that's very important because what that does is it incentivizes the tournament creator to actually possibly recoup some of their cost in the tournament, right? So essentially what you're going to do is host a tournament, and depending on the tier of your tournament, like we opened up this episode talking about, A, and depending on the cost of the tournament, B, that's going to go ahead and dictate how much gold you're going to get per battle won. And in all these options, it needs to be worth it. It needs to be worth possibly an hour or more time of total gameplay. By the way, you can see me getting absolutely wrecked here as I try to talk to you guys about these tournaments. But guys, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on tournaments, right? So I do like the foundation of tournaments, and they are brand new, so trying to cut Supercell a little slack here. But just in general, I do think there need to be a lot of improvements, namely on the economic side of things. Guys, I'm very curious to hear what you guys think of all these thoughts. Do you guys like tournaments, or am I totally off base? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to my video today, and as always, take care, guys.